was an honor and a privilege to work on this project and to get a sense of Latinos all over the U.S., from California to New York, Florida to Minnesota, and have a sense of the challenges and also the promises that Latinos have to share with those of us who are interested in challenging the realities of HIV and the disparities associated with it. It's my hope, and I share this with the person in El Paso that we quoted in the beginning of this report, that we'll be able to get this information to materialize into policies that are really being formed on the ground, and that this research report gives a voice to the movement, to the kind of ideas that are generated, to the energy that is produced on the ground, and that this actually gets in the right hands so that more can be done, more resources can be allocated, and so that the generations of Latinos to come and those that are existing now can have better opportunities for their future.
It's been great working with this study and going throughout the nation and learning about, on a national scale, the reality of Latinos. What was new to me as a Latino social scientist was to see the diversity of Latinos in terms of rural communities. I had never really thought about that. I'm very urban-centered, New York-centered, and it was really an education to learn that there's a different scale, a different culture, and there are Latino young people and families growing up, and with one of their identities being rural Americans, and that was really new to me. In terms of what this will accomplish, well, for me, I'm sort of a movement person, and what I see in the CBOs, the AIDS direct organizations, is really a feeder for a new social movement that would include Latino rights, but gay rights and the rights of people who are living or are affected by HIV. So what I hope happens with this study is that it will go to the stakeholders who have responsibility for the allocation of resources to really develop that Latino workforce, those professionals that will act as our new leadership. Every movement needs a feeder. Every movement needs a school. And to a certain extent, I believe the Latino-based organizations and the people who are involved in them are schooling our community in new ways to develop social justice, inclusion, and to create lives where love is really possible. So I hope that this study really brings more resources for the development of our community at the leadership level. And it was great working with you guys.
This project really uncovered a wealth of experiences, of voices, of the challenges, but also the opportunities that service providers, that health departments, and community members have to really address the epidemic. I think we're at a crossroads where we have a guide with the National HIV/AIDS strategy. We have a guide with other documents and research projects that are occurring currently, and also things that are coming through the pike, that to really address the epidemic is not solely looking at what puts you at risk simply, but how can we use your strengths and your community strengths? How can we really engage in terms of civil action to really get our youth having these conversations amongst each other, having the older generation also speak to each other, and then having the cross dialogue. And I think also, while this report really focuses on Latino gay men, I think the conversations about Latino gay men challenges and opportunities need to be shared with our Black gay men, with our Black Latinas, our Black women, and looking at beyond racial and ethnic lines, looking beyond sexual orientation, gender identity. I think this epidemic really, 30 years into it, really needs to have a comprehensive, holistic approach, looking at not only the challenges that folks face in reaching services, but those that are in service and making sure that their services are adequately meeting their needs, be it getting medications that are saving lives, getting transportation, access to transportation to get them to get their services. And then looking at the broader, looking at media and other opportunities to really make sure that this epidemic ends and we don't have another 30 years.
I ran into a friend of mine at one of the clubs, and he was a mess. I hadn't seen him for a while, and I knew there was something going on with him, so I kept my eye on him, and he was giving advice. So I said, you know what, do you want me to take you home? And I knew what it was. He was dying, and he was just angry. And he didn't look the same. He was kind of embarrassed that I saw him, but he respected me. So I said, well, why don't we go for a little ride? just to get him out of that situation, because he was either going to end up in jail or beat up or dead. So I got him in my car. I just wanted him to calm down. I put in the tape. I listened to a lot of Mexican music, and he just started crying. It just all came out. He goes, "Do you know how long it's been since I've heard that music?" So there's a void out there, especially with Latino gay men. It's either you have to give up your Latino identity and embrace this gay culture. There's really no in between there. They're starting to be an in between now with the immigrant population. They're bringing that culture in. You can be gay and you can be you can dress up in drag. You can be Mexican drag stars. That never existed when I was doing it. And for this same gentleman from my generation, we didn't have any of that. You either embraced the white gay culture or you just stayed Latino and stayed closeted. And I think that middle ground never existed to express not only your gayness, but your Latino-ness. You can't separate the two. They're both equally as important, but we just didn't understand that in those days. But just to see the way he reacted, and he just needed to release all that. Then he told me what was going on with him. Months later he was gone. But there really was no venue for that to share both those experiences and that identity. And I think that's here now, but we have to take very good care of that because it's very fragile.